Hello everybody, welcome to the weekend, and as you know at the weekend we like to look at topics, we like to look at issues, we like to expand on things that maybe has been a story in the MCN in the week, and this is one of these particular situations. There's always context and every little kind of like extra bit of detail, and of course it's important to see what you, the community, are saying about things. So let's talk about Wheel of Fate rewards, but in particular this whole kind of Selector debacle and whether or not Kabam on purpose lied to us. So one of the first things is the state of Wheel of Fate. As you know, it's not rewarded in the same way, and it is very restrictive when it comes to comparisons to other endgame pieces of content. Yeah, you could say, do you need 7-star? Do you need a top end roster? More than likely. I'm a non-spending player in Marvel Contest of Champions. I don't have every single 7-star, and it's definitely something that I would like to do this particular piece of content. I do think I've got the roster to technically do it, but I think that's because I'm a non-spending player that's a Valiant player that's also been active for various years. I haven't kind of like, I don't know, gone into semi-retirement, then come back to the game. It's always been the case I've been constant, but I wouldn't say I've got a huge 7-star roster. Because there are very much, gaps in the Unknown Champions section right here. So you can see from my perspective, there are still champions I'm lacking. I've got a good coverage of champions, but there are a lot of champions I would like to get in order to say maybe benefit the situation that I'm going into, but I do have a chunk of them that I think could just about do it. So where the content has largely been a letdown, for me personally, and of course everyone's opinion is valid for whatever you feel you like or dislike about it, is that I think it's grindy. I think it's too timely, it's taking too much of players' time, and compared with stuff like Epic of Pain, even though that was difficult, kind of felt right. Especially from like the amount of when you start the quest to when you say get to the end boss, that time didn't feel as grindy on the same level as Necropolis. Whereas Wheel of Fate very much feels like it's kind of like a step backwards, and it's just taking too much of players' time, as well as not being too inclusive, it's more exclusive. And the rewards don't really match that kind of level of effort for players. Definitely one thing that interested players going into the Wheel of Fate rewards was the Selector. I think more so when they learned the champions that are actually on the path. Now, on the face of it, you can count up the champions right here and go, okay, Gore, Dazzler, Lady Deathstrike, Enchantress, Thor Ragnarok, Arcade, Leader, you've got Bullseye, Human Torch, Serpent, you've then got Spiral, you've then got Dust, and finally you've got Deathless Thanos. Now, Kabam said they were not going to give you Deathless Thanos as an option with the Selector, which of course would have been quite nice. But the biggest kind of like twist in things, that means that there's 12 champions right there. On the face of it, it does seem that those champions would be available to get within that Selector.
What this Selector is going to be giving you a 7-star champion of one of the 12 defenders in this quest. So that's a new kind of thing that we're doing here with this.
That is the big thing that everybody is picking up on. The fact that Mike said that there would be one of the 12 champions that are defenders. Now that's not the case. Only 10 champions are technically available. From what I gather, Thor Ragnarok is not in that particular crystal to be had from the path. And the same thing when it comes to Human Torch. Human Torch has been earmarked for the Heat Wave deals. These are effectively the July 4th deals that you know on a yearly basis. So yes, you're going to have to spend money in order to get Human Torch, rather than, me as a non-spending player, I would have loved the opportunity to get a 7-star Human Torch, but it's simply not possible. Otherwise, I think there would be just a little bit more interest for me to be smashing my way through Wheel of Fate. I'll still probably do it, but I'm just not happy about it. And it's a lot of the time I kind of feel that with kind of Kabam and MCOCs. Like, I feel like I'm forcing myself through stuff rather than kind of enjoying stuff. Valiant difficulty, easy access to Paragon Gauntlet has been like a not revelation. It's something that I think a lot of us wanted to see and Kabam to do. So having something that's kind of feels like a backtrack is not always great when it comes to Wheel of Fate. I wish them well with getting a better bit of idea from who they're serving and the types of players in this game and what people enjoy, because I just don't think they're getting it right with this stuff when it comes to Everest and endgame content. Epic of Pain might have been the kind of like, it was okay, but the lead up to it just like dragged on a lot. The quest itself, was necessarily fine. Anyway, I digress. Back to the situation of this Selector. I know some people will wonder and kind of think, oh, can we push Kabam to get them to resolve this and get it sorted? They're not changing anything. They won't change anything. So we largely have to kind of look at this from a hindsight perspective. MCOC is very specific when it comes to facts and information. Like, there has to always be some kind of like tangible information, facts, backing, and even like hindsight. If Kabam make a mistake when it comes to things they've said or things they've done, then they have to be held accountable to that. And of course, moving forward, they've got to just make sure they just don't make those continuous mistakes. And it unfortunately does happen when it comes to like bugs and other problems. But I think that's the game in a nutshell. If you're new to the game, expect inconsistencies from the developer, right? And live with it. If you can't live with it, then you probably best just like not play the game. But Kabam, Karate Mike, Kabamasaurus Rex does actually apologize for this, and of course said that was definitely a poor way to word that sentence on my part. In a moment, I should have said one of the defenders in the quest currently is available as a 7-star, and of course Human Torch and Thor Ragnarok aren't available as 7-stars. Dust, for the people that like Dust, is in the Selector, for those that want to grab a 7-star version. For additional context, this quest was designed well before the Heatwave cell was in development, and the rewards were designed after the quest was finished. Which is, again, weird. Like, we could unpack the extent of where the game is at when it comes to, like, you know, quality of rewards and, of course, difficulty level versus what you take back as a result from the particular content at hand. But them's is the breaks, and that's where the cookie crumbles with this game. Especially when you look at the rewards from Act 9.2, the difficulty scale, the enjoyment scale, and of course the inclusive versus exclusive comparison between the two pieces of content. And hopefully this weekend I might be able to get this kind of like done, because this is just like being weighing over me. But we're currently doing a remodel to the house at the moment, so it's causing a lot of kind of stress. Suppliers and contractors, and shout out to Comican, who kind of like said the other day, if you mention suppliers and contractors in any language across any different type of country, they understand what you're going through. So respect to anybody who understands and appreciate you. At the end of the day, and something that I mentioned in Friday's MCN is, it sucks. There's nothing we can do about this to get the opportunity for those champions, which of course are rare at a 7-star base level to get. And of course, the one way it's going to cost you, someone said it would be about £500. I don't think it's going to cost that. I think it's going to cost a lot more. But we're still like 2 weeks away from July 4th deals to get an indication how much it's going to cost. Like, here's a good example, right? I'll just float this out there for people. The cost is generally around about the 36. When Kabam do these particular deals, they're normally about like 36,000 units. So getting an indication of 36,000 units. Because if it's in a milestone, I should double check, shouldn't I? Web store milestone, something like Human Torch first availability. I think that's going to be within a milestone tracker on itself. So it's going to be a lot more. So if we're going with this, it's going to be similar to what I'm going to say. And they've got a shorts coming up about this. 36,000 units divided by 3,100, because it's obviously based on purchases. It could be 11.61. Let's go and kind of like split hairs and say it's going to be 12 times 99.99, because we could say that it's something to do with the, not web store, but kind of like purchasing and purchasing Odins. We're probably looking at about a $1,200 kind of price point and price mark for that champion. That's what I think. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, because it just gets ridiculous when you look at these kind of pricing scales. I've got a video I think coming out this weekend about, do Kabam value like free-to-play players, and talking about the state of free-to-play and kind of catching up and other stuff like this when it comes to implications of Wheel of Fate. But that's another story for another video. Of course, final clarity is this: Human Torch is not available to be owned until the end of the month. This is what I meant by that. The word lie is being thrown around very liberally here. I have stated in the thread that it was a poor way to word how the Selector works on my part at the moment of the stream. I think he even kind of like, uses the word like apologize, sorry for that one. And there we go. Okay. There's quite literally zero benefits trying to intentionally misdirect anybody about anything, generally 0. I did not say, hey, Torch is in the selector. If I did, everything you're saying would be 1000% correct. In the moment, I accidentally said that there was a selector with one of the 12 champions instead of saying there was a selector made up of champions in the quest. It was a mistake, and that was made known immediately when the content went live. And I realized that there isn't more I can do aside from apologize for the mistake and take accountability for making it. These will be my last words on the matter. This is the realization, I think, when you come from being a content creator, and there's a lot of content creators that now work for Kabam. It's so different from it. Like, I can make a mistake in a video, and it's like, people will point out in the comment section, you made a mistake in this, that, not right champion there, wrong node association with stuff there. And, you know, I want to say it's chill. I mean, I'm annoyed with myself for making a mistake, but this is a business level. There's that kind of step up in difference. Even from the company that I work for in the TV and film industry, don't worry, next year I will reveal all about that one, but it's very NDA'd kind of stuff, and I'm trying to keep it as private as possible. But yeah, like, if I was to make a mistake there, it would be reflected really bad in a professional sense, and you have to be always on it and so right. And the same thing with you, like, it's not just what I'm doing or Mike's doing, it's like in your professional jobs, even like a school level, you have to, if there's a professional element to whatever you do, you have to be right most of the time. Yes, we all are human, but of course, like, from a point of view of scripting and kind of preparing for these live streams, I'm sure Kabam, as a Karate Mike, is kicking himself about this, and of course people are doing the same. But it's the implications on stuff when you're trying to access something that's you thought you could obtain, but you actually cannot, which of course is sad. And I think I'll end with this, you know, as Slayer of God's Puts, apology accepted. You know, I think a lot of people can just forgive. Well, maybe some people can have some tolerance towards Kabam, Karate Mike, Kabam, Asaurus Rex. I need to kind of like get that right. Content still bad though is something I do think that a lot of people kind of resonate with, and we'll just we'll have to see how people. This might go down as one of the worst piece of content, but then there's been stuff in the past that's been generally rubbish, as I mentioned in the past in a previous video. The maze. If you know, you know, and if you don't know, I'm glad you don't know. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this video. What are your thoughts surrounding this particular situation? Of course, your thoughts and feelings around the game, always appreciated. Let me know. Thanks for watching. Check out some other content located on the screen. Also, to people that have been emailing me recently, I am sorry. I will get back to you. Just been a lot on personally, and I'll see you all soon. Much love and goodbye.